Oh my God. Mark Robinson being caught making aggressively awful comments in a porn forum?
So weird. Imagine just leaving notes. He's just like leaving comments.
Who leaves comments?
He left a lot of comments.
You're listening to Hysteria, the podcast for people who are always keeping up to speed on the national fuckery forecast. Because, Alyssa, it's coming in.
Doesn't stop. It's tidal
warm
waves.
Fronts, cold fronts, storm fronts. I mean, literally. We've got some stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about like Donald Trump's insane, like literally insane appeals to women.
You don't want to give him the attention, but you do have to listen to it twice because you can't believe what he said the first time. Even how many years in are we at this point? Still have to.
We're going to talk about that. But first, I think what's happening right now, and I realized as I was preparing for the show, I was like, oh my God, I'm falling for it too. Is that Donald Trump's whole thing is being the person that people are talking about the most and having it overshadow good ideas and sane behavior by other people by just acting as crazy as possible all the time. And in 2016, it sort of worked. So I want to start today by talking a little bit about the Harris-Walz tickets proposals around family policy, which have been a subject of conversation, in addition to the obvious stuff about healthcare, which I would argue dovetails with family policy. There's also the proposed $6K tax credit for the first year of a baby's life, which doesn't currently exist, and a $5K tax credit there on out for kids. So I think that's pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
Come on. It's stupid that it doesn't exist. It's stupid that they let it expire in the first place.
Yeah, and just a reminder that J.D. Vance, who is like so obsessed with what other people are doing or not doing, having kids or not having kids, just didn't show up for that vote.
No, he was busy, Erin.
He was
busy being pro-life.
Him and his couch had an important date. He was testing out dogs to rent. He was like auditioning.
Poor dogs.
Look, I don't not believe that it's his dog, but if it turned out not to be his dog, I would be like, that makes sense.
You wouldn't be shocked at all. And also, if we could hear the internal monologue of that poor dog, he'd be like, help.
There's an interview he did recently with Tucker Carlson, and the dog like comes into frame, and the dog is like not wearing a harness or a collar, which is odd.
What?
Yeah. And like, so JD is like trying to hold the dog back like by its hips, but like it's so weird. It is like, I've never once like you give the dog, I know maybe he doesn't want to get dog hair on his suit, but like if you have a dog, you kind of give him
a lint roller.
You give him a little like a headlock, but like a nice headlock, like a come here, buddy. Like I'm gonna give you
like who's a good boy?
Yeah, exactly. But he was like gingerly holding onto the dog's hips, and it was so odd. Anyway, let's go back to. I'm sorry, they keep acting so weird that I'm like.
Nothing comes naturally except cruelty.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, exactly. And that frown that somebody must have told him makes him look serious and masculine, but just makes him look constipated. Okay, so back to the family policy, because this stuff is important, right? You know,
yes.
we don't want to elect weird people. We want to elect people with a plan. Harris also proposed a 7% cap on childcare costs related to income. She hasn't gone into like details about her specific plan, but I think it's reasonable to assume that this plan is kind of like what was proposed under the original Build Back Better that was tanked by Republicans and Joe Manchin, who, by the way, fucking sucks.
It's tough out there.
Fuck that. I mean, fuck all of the 50 Republicans or whatever, but also like fucking Joe Manchin. Anyway, the Build Back Better package in 2021 originally called for that 7% cap on childcare costs for people with children younger than 6 and for people with incomes up to 250% of the state's median income. So that would have expanded childcare access to about 20 million children. There was also a universal pre-K measure in the Build Back Better package. Gosh, what could have been? You know? What could have been? That would have cost an estimated $382 billion, and the funding would have lasted about 6 years. But I gotta say, as somebody with 2 children under the age of 6, that would have been huge. That would have been nice.
Made things a little easier.
It would have made things easier, but you know what? We've got some business geniuses from Silicon Valley who don't know how to pet dogs, deciding like what parents need and don't need. Also, coincidentally, you can tune into tomorrow's What a Day episode where I'm going to talk to the new host, Jane Coaston, about recent campaigns and family policies. And to hear this important conversation, head to the What a Day feed tomorrow and listen. Okay, let's talk about Trump now because he said some stuff. Just last week, we were discussing the women-hating pillar of the Trump-Vance 2024 campaign and also the Republican Party in general. Alyssa, you heard what Bernie...
this isn't just them.
This isn't just them. Bernie Moreno just this week, Senate candidate in Ohio.
Bonkers.
Completely batshit insane car salesman was caught at a public event being recorded saying he thinks it's a little crazy that women over 50 would care about abortion.
That's...
For obvious reasons, because they can't, ostensibly because he's...
It is unbelievable how far they will go to marginalize women over 50, all women generally. But man, they really fucking hate older ladies.
They are awful. Like,
They're like,
babies.
you need to go watch the kids, first have a baby, raise the baby, then when it's your turn, take care of your aging parents while you simultaneously then take care of your grandchildren. It's tiring. It's very tiring. Do you think they have plans that extensive for themselves in their golden years?
I think that they just want to be taken care of by women their entire lives. And in a way, they're tipping their hand to the fact that the entire American economy falls apart without the invisible labor of women. The unpaid invisible labor of women of all ages. But Bernie Moreno, just him saying like, oh, obviously like women over 50 shouldn't care about abortion. Bitch, you can't get pregnant either. Bitch, when have you?
He never could.
You've never fucking ovulated in your goddamn life. If you really think it, honestly, you know what, Bernie? Good idea. Good idea. I do actually think that it's normal for people to have empathy for other human beings who are not themselves and for their, their mothers, their daughters, their kid, whatever. It's normal to have empathy for people that aren't exactly living your exact life.
It's actually the whole point of empathy.
Yeah. But also, Bernie, you know what? Let's actually do that. Only people who can get pregnant can vote on whether or not to have abortions. And
That'd
how
be
about
great.
Whoa, that's great. We solved it, man. We solved it. Let's do it. Let's let women under 40 be the only ones allowed. I mean, whatever. I'm over 40 and I figured out a way to get pregnant. But like, let's let people who can get pregnant. That's great. That's a good idea because I
know what his response to that would be.
What?
That if you actually want that, he would. So I could never have kids, right? He would want people like me to take a test. See if I actually could. Because Erin, if I'm 30 and I can't birth a baby, I don't know if I'd make the cut for him. Probably
so we should yeah, I guess that is bureaucratically probably a non-starter, but I'm just saying as a thought experiment, if there was a way to just like honor system like Scouts honor, like only vote if you only vote on abortion if you are somebody who might need one.
See, and I don't think that you or I specifically hyperbolically extrapolated what he was intending to say either. You know what I mean? He's actually Aunt Lydia all by himself.
But it's like, I mean, like I say, play the tape forward, Bernie.
Right.
So you think that women over 50, because they cannot, although they have gotten pregnant, because they don't normally get pregnant. It's not something that is a day-to-day concern for them. That they shouldn't have an opinion, but it's okay for men of all ages to have an opinion
on anything.
What the fuck? Like that's weird. It's a weird thing to say. It's
really weird.
It is deeply, deeply creepy. But Donald Trump loves him. That's the Bernie that he likes.
Likes a lot of people. They're pretty bad.
Yeah, Mark Robinson being like, "That's not me," and
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh my God, Mark Robinson being caught making aggressively awful comments in a porn forum?
So weird. Imagine just leaving notes. He's just like leaving comments.
If you've ever viewed online pornography, there is a comment section underneath. Who leaves comments? He does.
Leaves comments.
He
left a lot of comments.
He left a lot of comments, and they said crazy things. And then when he was presented with the evidence that was probably him, it was, that scene in Austin Powers when he's been on Frozen and he's in front of Elizabeth Hurley and his penis pump is being returned to him and he's embarrassed that it's being returned to him and they're presenting them with like a notarized letter saying that this is your penis pump, like blah, blah, like that was literally the evidence they have that Mark Robinson was leaving those weird ass comments on a porn for him.
IP addresses don't lie, dude.
And he's like, no, that's got to be somebody else.
He's like mainstream media.
Got to be somebody else. Yeah, sure, dude. CNN for years knew you would be the nominee for governor in North Carolina in this crucial year when North Carolina's a swing state, and they planned for it. Bitch, if Democrats were that good at scheming, Roe v. Wade would still be the law of the land. We are not good at scheming.
A lot of things would be different.
Hey, we ain't schemers. We should. I wish we did more scheming. I wish there was more.
We're just nice people who want to help people most of the time.
I think we could use just a touch more scheming on our side and a lot less scheming on their side. But anyway, that was a giant tangent. We're talking about Trump and women. On Friday, Trump posted an incoherent rant on Truth Social about abortion. We have a new associate producer on the show, and when I told her about the rant, she was like, okay, and she went and looked for it, pulled it, and was like, this is insane. Like, she hadn't seen it before. I'm going to read the rant. It's in all caps, obviously. Women are poorer than they were 4 years ago, are less healthy than they were 4 years ago, are less safe on the streets than they were 4 years ago, are more depressed and unhappy than they were 4 years ago, and are less optimistic and confident in the future than they were 4 years ago. I will fix all of that and fast. And at long last, this national nightmare will be over.
Thank
Women
God.
will be happy, healthy, confident, and free. Thank you, Mr. Tampax. You will no longer be thinking about abortion because it is now where it always had to be with the states and a vote of the people. Okay, pause. That's exactly where it shouldn't be. Like, why is there a board of governors in between a woman and her uterus? That's fucking weird. It shouldn't be like that. That is not where it's supposed to be. It's the only medical procedure where there's a fucking committee, an elected committee of mostly dudes who's honestly, they're probably jizzing puffs of dust at their age, and with powerful exceptions like those that Ronald Reagan insisted on for rape, incest, and the life of the mother, but not allowing for Democrat demanded late-term abortion in the 7th, 8th, or 9th month, or even execution of a baby after birth. Pause. He's talking about hospice care for terminally ill infants. He's talking about not wasting hospital resources, prolonging the life of a baby that is going to die a long, drawn-out death with medical intervention. It's ridiculous. Okay. Execution of a baby after birth. That's called murder, already illegal. We've gone over this. I will protect women at a level never seen before. They will finally be healthy, hopeful, safe, and secure. Their lives will be happy, beautiful, and great. Alyssa, what's Trump's game here?
It's like he's trying to clean up everything J.D. Vance has been saying, but not even cleaning it up at all, right? He's like, listen, girls, I know J.D. Vance said that he hates you single ladies. He hates you cat ladies. Actually, he wants all of you to be forced to have kids. Put that on a shelf for a minute, and I'm just going to tell you how unhappy you are, which is also what J.D. Vance said. You're all so unhappy, and my administration is going to be like Xanax for you, but you will still be prisoners of your gender because I am going to legislate everything you can and cannot do. His game is kind of tap dancing around the fact that a lot of Republican women are like, this fucking abortion shit's gone too far. You guys are batshit, and we don't agree with you. And the loony Susan B. Anthony crowd that's you're not extreme enough. And so he's just addressing it with all caps in a nonsensical way that you literally need to diagram the sentence to understand what he's saying, other than you're all so miserable and I'm going to make you so happy. What?
Has he considered the fact that a lot of women are miserable because they are married to and had children with men who expect them to contribute 50% of the income to the home and 100% of the work of childcare?
There's that.
Is he considering that maybe women are unhappy because they are expected to provide free labor without complaining about it, that men are never asked to provide?
They're not. And he's also not complaining about the fact he doesn't understand that we've thought all along that Trump and the MAGA crowd didn't think we were people, and now he's saying it, and we're like, okay, so we were right all along.
I have a hypothetical question for anybody who would consider, any woman who would consider voting for Donald Trump. This line, I will protect women at a level never seen before. Do you have a kid? Do you have a daughter, a niece? granddaughter, whatever, a young female relative. Would you let Donald Trump babysit her?
Never.
Would you let Donald Trump babysit your niece?
No. They
Absolutely not.
There's not a chance.
Not a chance.
Would Ivanka let her dad babysit her children?
That's a good question.
I'm guessing no. I'm guessing no, because let me tell you something. I think it was I don't know if it was Eric's kids or Don Jr.'s kids. One of them was at the rally with one consortium of them was at the rally with Trump this weekend, and he did not know what to do with them.
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump Jr. he's kind of doubling it and carrying it forward with whatever trauma he received from his awful dad. Did you see the clip of him telling his 17-year-old daughter that she was sexy?
Yeah.
So
seen it a couple times.
So weird. Such fucking weirdos.
Especially when everyone else on The View was like, yikes.
Yeah, I would not let anybody in that family babysit. What is Trump going off like this? Tell us about the state of his campaign.
Chaos. Total spiral. He has no idea what to say, so he's trying to say everything in one sentence so that he covers all his bases. But none of it is there's no policy behind what he said in the tweet. There's no substance. There's no here is truly why you have been unhappy, and here are the things I'm going to do to make it easier. Because if he actually did do that cause and effect, he would be just regurgitating the policies of Harris-Walz.
Yeah, well, I mean, Donald Trump does love plagiarism. There were entire parts of one of his fake college's curriculums that turned out to be plagiarized from business school textbooks. And Melania's speech was partially plagiarized from a Michelle Obama speech that she gave in 2016. It was really funny. And then they blamed Meredith McIver. I know way too much about Donald Trump thanks to our or this fucking guy series on him. This is what it tells me, Alyssa. I think we can tell what numbers Donald Trump's internal campaign polling are getting by who Donald Trump barks about. And I think that maybe a month ago, he was saying oh yeah, we don't really care about black men anymore. And he was implying they don't really care about black and Hispanic men anymore because white men are through the roof. And I think what he meant was that there's a lot of white men are highly motivated and connecting with his message. But I think that Trump probably got some numbers that are hey, dude, they're not through the roof enough to cancel every woman's vote.
No, especially when Joe Rogan starts talking about how Kamala's doing a good job.
Yeah, oof,
yikes.
Got to be a rough one for him. But Donald Trump can't win with only angry white men. They are loud. They never shut the fuck up. So sometimes it seems like there are more of them than there are. They are loud, but there's not as many of them as he needs to win. So he needs to convince some women using this I don't know, Summer's Eve ass copy.
That is so funny. I was like, this sounds like a Massengill.
Well, I mean, Donald Trump is a douche, much like Summer's Eve. He thinks that he's going to be able to convince people with completely unspecific, ridiculous language. And also, I just want to say, he's trying to capture as many women as possible with a wide net. He's trying hope. You're going to be happy and confident. And then he's trying fear. They're killing the babies after they're born. And then he's trying nostalgic. Oh, Ronald Reagan wanted it like this. He's trying a daddy thing for young people. I'll protect you, young women. It is all over the place messaging wise. And that to me is he got a bunch of numbers back that he is losing with women that he can rely on, older women. He's probably losing with, I saw some numbers that were a little bit shaky about white women for him. He's definitely losing with younger women, and younger women are highly motivated to vote. So he is trying to just throw spaghetti at the Barbie aisle and see what sticks. And I don't know.
He'll be back with more tweets next week that are the opposite of what he just tweeted the other day.
When it's about women, it's called a twat. Do you think that Donald Trump is going to play the I don't know him with Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, even though he's been on stage with him before?
Totally. He'll never have him on stage again. I'm sure there's been some phone call that's Mark, listen, my dude, I am with you, super with you. However, in order for us to win, you really got to stay the fuck away from me. But they're still going to give him money. They're still they're still going to do GOTV for him. Like, they're just not going to stand up on a stage with him.
Yeah. I do want to close this segment on Trump's weird comments by quoting Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who called Donald Trump just deranged after he said in a rally last weekend that women would no longer be thinking about abortion if he's elected as president. Deranged. It's a good way to put
deranged.
it. Good job, Big Gretch.